the big news here on Parliament Hill is that we're all expecting to get a new green plan. Environment Minister Rona Ambrose is expected to deliver this plan now, maybe Wednesday, maybe Thursday. We'll probably know in the next few hours. And it's a big deal. It's going to be a lockup for journalists, a lockup for members of Parliament. It's the kind of attention that's normally afforded to a federal budget we're seeing given to this green plan. And, frankly, I think that's right. I think it's about time. I think Canadians really have an appetite right now for the equivalent of a budget for the environment. And in fact, that's what I heard last week when I had my town hall meetings in Halton. And I'm just getting bombarded with emails from people saying the same thing, and that is, you got to take this environmental issue seriously. So we'll see. There are lots of big issues to deal with. Climate change, sustainability, how to balance the environment with the economy. It's all hopefully going to be in a new blueprint to come. Now, in anticipation of that, I had some words this afternoon, a few minutes ago actually, with the new leader of the Green Party, ELizabetjh May. And of course, we expect the Green Party to have an extreme point of view on the environment issue and maybe not to agree with much the government brings forward. I wanted to know if that's the case or whether there is some unanimity here that whoever brings down environmental action, if it's the right action, will it be supported by all politicians? Here's my conversation with ELizabetjh May. All right, well, here we go. It is Tuesday afternoon, just after QP. We're here in the foyer of the House of Commons. I have a special guest with me today. It is ELizabetjh May. Now, Elizabeth is the newly elected leader of the Green Party. And, it's interesting, Elizabeth, because a lot of polling shows that the number 2 voting choice of a lot of Conservatives actually is Green. Now, go figure. Why is that happening?
It makes total sense. And Preston Manning actually said that he felt the Green Party in Alberta would be the next big political surge vis-a-vis the Conservatives there. But when you consider that for a lot of Conservatives, and no offense, I know you're in Mr. Harper's government, but the Progressive Conservative Party was a different animal from the current Alliance Conservative merger. And I think a lot of Conservatives want to see a party that's fiscally conservative, which the Green Party is, but also progressive on social issues and strong on the environment, which the Green Party is. So a lot of Conservatives are coming over to us, and we welcome them with open arms.
Well, that sounds dangerously political, so I won't go there. But listen, I got to ask you, because, the big news here on Parliament Hill, whether, I guess, maybe it's tomorrow, maybe Thursday, is going to be the Green Plan. And we have Rona Ambrose, of course, who's under a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
Expectations have been extremely high. So whatever this woman does, are you going to dump on her?
No, if they do the right thing, we've committed to this. We released the Green Party Green Plan, which we call GP Squared, and it's up on our website at greenparty.ca. And we announced in that document that we already said we're encouraged by the Harper government talking about mandatory fuel efficiency standards for automobiles. We said if they do that, we'll commend them. We also said we hear there may be good things coming out in relation to toxic chemicals. If they do that, we'll commend them. But the bottom line for any green plan is it has to respond to the climate crisis. So depending on the extent to which they respond, and at this point, everything I've seen coming out is a combination of it's odd, the communication strategy of this government. They've both said, don't expect a new green plan. They've downgraded it and now said it'll be an approach. On the other hand, having the Prime Minister fly out to Vancouver and have that backdrop of the mountains and fly out all his ministers to stand around him while he made an announcement that there will be an announcement really raised expectations again. So the Green Party regards these issues of clean air and the climate crisis and clean water and cancer-causing chemicals as much more important than any partisan advantage. And unlike other parties, if another party stole our entire plan, we would cheer, and we would commend Rona Ambrose for doing it.
So why do you sound so political then?
Sound political? Well,
I can't help it.
I'm not
right,
partisan.
Let me ask.
Garth, let me make it clear that our bottom line is that we have to live up to Kyoto targets.
Yeah.
So since she's said very clearly on a number of occasions they don't intend to do that, it does undercut the plan.
All right, let's ask this question because a lot of people are going to watch this. Some people are vastly concerned with the environment. Yeah. Other people care more about their jobs and their families and their mortgages. And they got to drive a car to get to work. Like my riding, I represent Halton, which is on the sort of the outskirts of Toronto.
Yeah.
Elizabeth, everybody's got an SUV, okay? They got a minivan, they got kids that got to drive to soccer, they got big honking houses that are tough to heat, right? They live in suburbs that are paved over. Like, what do you say to those people? I mean, they care about the environment, but are you going to take their SUVs away?
I won't take their SUV away, but the Green Party plan would encourage them to have a vehicle that was more fuel efficient and that ran on cleaner fuels.
Well,
so,
how much
for
is that
example,
going to cost them?
Well, it's a question of what it costs us to ignore the climate crisis.
Right.
I mean, I read your blog. You're talking about your own riding. What you hear from everybody is they care about the environment. It's not a liberal or a conservative or an NDP or even a Green Party issue. It's everybody's issue. People care. But then when you make a choice, like I'm living in this lovely suburb, the structure of the society, the design, forces you into certain choices that aren't the best for the environment. So if people end up paying less on their income tax, which is the Green Party plan, reduce income taxes, reduce payroll taxes, and increase taxes on things we don't want, like pollution, that will send a market signal that will drive people towards buying a more fuel-efficient car, or perhaps moving closer into town and taking mass transit, or perhaps running their same SUV, but on biodiesel. So when you go through the analysis of what you can do, there are a lot of options.
Okay, let me ask you this question as well. We got a lot of Conservative members of Parliament from Alberta. We have this engine of economic growth right now, which is called Alberta. We got the tar sand.
Yeah.
We got this huge, honking, big, polluting mess out there, but it's creating a tremendous amount of wealth and job creation. How much can we afford to dampen that? Or how much do we need to replace that activity with something else?
Actually, and I think that the MP from Fort McMurray, the Conservative Brian Jean, has been very forthright on this, as has Fort McMurray Council and Mayor, who have voted for a moratorium on any new development. Because the way it's growing, and Peter Lougheed's pointed this out, the way that the Alberta economy is growing isn't actually good for the economy in Alberta. What they've done is to have an economy that's too hot to handle. So they're driving away investment, like that recent Encana announcement that they were going to pipeline bitumen crude south to refineries in the U.S. They're not building them in Alberta because they just can't handle it right now. That economy is out of control. So what really is needed both economically and environmentally is a slowdown, is to say, look, we've already got 1.2 million barrels of oil a day being produced in Alberta. That's twice what it was 10 years ago. By the end of this decade, it's going to 2 million barrels of oil a day. Let's hold it there for a while. We're not going to stop it from getting to 2 million barrels of oil a day, but that's a pretty substantial level of production. Let's let the society catch up with it. Let's let the infrastructure in Fort McMurray catch up. So they've got doctors, they've got sewage, they've got housing. Let's take care of those people first.
All right, but back one quick thing, back to the oil issue though.
Yeah.
How broken up would you be, or would you love it, if we had gasoline at $3 a litre?
It would be very bad news for the economy if that price hit on top of all the other taxes.
Right.
So what we need to do in a Green Party plan wouldn't go to $3 a litre, certainly, but tax shifting, increase the taxes on fossil fuels, decrease taxes elsewhere in the economy, so you get a market signal. But there's no question that right now energy prices in Canada are, given what compared to, say, Europe, they're low. And that's what drives us to be inefficient. And that means that the European economies are going to get way ahead of us on the fuel-efficient technologies, on having societies that run well, that are low carbon. I mean, Sweden has set a plan for itself of getting off fossil fuels within a couple of decades. That's pretty ambitious, to get completely off fossil fuels. We seem to have set our sights in the other direction altogether, ignoring the climate crisis, ignoring the really solid economic costs that will hit Canada if we refuse to act, because significant droughts in the prairies are going to be bad for us. Increased severe weather events is going to be bad for our economy. It's not as if climate change is an environmental problem we can afford to ignore. It's not even really an environmental problem anymore. It's an economic problem.
All right, ELizabetjh May, new Green Party chairperson, leader. I saw you sitting up in the gallery.
Yeah, I like sitting in the gallery. I'd rather sit down there with you guys.
You'd rather be down there, though.
Yeah.
Okay, how do you get down there? How are you going to get somebody down there? How long is it going to take? This is a tough process, right?
Right.
I mean, you might have votes in every single riding across the country.
Yeah.
But like if you have 8% of all the ridings, you don't have an MP. So how do you do it?
We have to win in the first past the post system, even though we'll keep working for proportional representation. And I talked to the Prime Minister about this. He was kind enough to call me to congratulate for winning leadership, and we talked about proportional representation. And his view was you'll never get any group of MPs to change the system which got them elected personally. But I think we can win in the next election. Our poll numbers are rising rapidly. It is a disadvantage. Clearly, a regional party, a party that's for separatism, like the Bloc, can do better
you're
through
all concentrated, and you get.
But I think we'll win.
Yeah.
I think we'll win. We'll get seats in the next election. I'll get down there with you.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll see. All right, ELizabetjh May, Green Party leader. Thank you very much. Hey,
well, thank you.
Pleasure. Thanks for being on
Thank you so
MPtv.
much. And thank you for calling for a green plan with gonads.